For anyone that may be unaware, last year in the summer, it came out that at Ubisoft, through confessions in the speaking out movement that happened around the time, there was rampant sexual misconduct happening within the company from all areas, whether it be internal within the actual business side of things, the corporate company aspect, or the game creation. And with that, it led to an outcry for change and for things to be better. And we saw some change, admittedly. People like Sergei Haskot, Ashraf Ismail, and Escoblades have all been released from the company. They no longer work there. Ashraf was one of their game developers, and he was game director for both Assassin's Creed Origins and Valhalla. Valhalla until he either left until he was no longer at the company. Escoblades was a community manager, and Sergei Haskot was Yves Guillemot's right-hand man and was one of the major decision makers within the company, and one of the reasons why women were always so pushed away in Ubisoft's culture in their games. That's why there was never a female Assassin's Creed protagonist. That was all mainly on him, from what I remember. I haven't read articles or anything in a while. And that was damning to hear last year. It was something that I don't think anyone expected. There was a hint of an issue with how Ubisoft felt about women, but it was never on that scale. We didn't know how bad it was. And then the reports came out, people started coming forward with speaking out, and we found out. And it is appalling. There's no way you can justify thousands of people having experienced or witnessed sexual misconduct at that company, as was reported. I believe at the time it may have been a more recent number that we have, but it's about 14,000 that took part. 20% felt unsafe and uncomfortable in their workplace, and that's not okay. That's not a good thing. That shouldn't happen. No one should go to work and feel uncomfortable. No one should go to work and feel unsafe. And that's the environment Ubisoft have bred for themselves. That's the environment Yves Guillemot, the CEO, has bred for his family-oriented and family-run company. And it brings us to now, where in an article released a couple of days ago, basically nothing has changed. Now, they have made some changes. They have a anonymous reporting system in place. They have released people, like I said, people who were in the public eye, as far as we know, alongside reported other dismissals and other punishments. But aside from that very base level, I guess, attempt at change, a lot of people who were specifically pointed out and named are still at the company, either in the exact same position or in an entirely different position within the company. And even then, the human resources people who covered it up the first time round, before everyone came out with their stories last year, majority of them are still there. Regardless whether they've implemented a new head of human resources or not, the people who covered it up are still with that company. The people who brushed it aside and let God knows how many people get harassed and abused are still there. And Ubisoft seems to think that that's okay. And they won't even take responsibility and publicly talk about it as themselves. A report has come out from both the Mentors Guild and the Sisterhood detailing the changes that they've made. But it's come out through the Mentors Guild and the Sisterhood, both two groups formed by fans of Assassin's Creed. Granted, the Mentors Guild is a Ubisoft thing. They select people to be mentors entirely for PR. But why won't they address it themselves? Why won't they release a tweet? Why are they hiding behind the Sisterhood? Why are they hiding behind the Mentors Guild? Why won't they take responsibility for the company that they've made? That I've tweeted and I've called it, and I've also said privately, something along the lines of it being a stain on the gaming industry. And it's what I truly believe. It's a stain on this industry that I fucking adore. This industry that I occasionally make content in. this industry that I've had content planned to come out this week based on Ubisoft and their games, and I don't really feel comfortable releasing that video anymore because I don't feel comfortable supporting this company who seems to think it's okay to abuse and harass their employees and create this very toxic work culture. If they can get away with it, if they can just say, I'm sorry, fire the people who are in the public eye, and then brush it under the rug and act like it never happened. And that's seemingly what they want to do. They want us to forget. They want everyone to forget that Ubisoft have bred such a toxic work culture. And that's not something I can personally support. Which is why, as a very small content creator, but also just genuinely as a person, I don't feel comfortable supporting Ubisoft anymore. Not while they're letting people who harass their co-workers and employees and subordinates stay. Not while Yves Guillemot, who the CEO either bred this culture intentionally and he was complicit, or he genuinely had no idea about it, in which case he's a fucking idiot. And either way, he shouldn't be at that company, whether it's a family business or not. Yves Guillemot should not be at Ubisoft. As long as he is there, as long as the current culture is there, I don't feel comfortable supporting this company. And I kind of regret that I have for the past year. I regret that I bought Valhalla. I regret that I made some content on Valhalla. I even somewhat regret other games I've played by them. I bought Phoenix Rising for a joke video earlier, either early this year or late last year, and I don't feel comfortable with that anymore. I don't feel comfortable that I own that game because I know the company I've supported in purchasing that game doesn't support the people that work on it, doesn't support their employees, doesn't support their communities. All they care about is that money. And last year, people tried making noise, and people tried asking them to change, and clearly they didn't. So the only thing that I can think left to do is to no longer support that company. Is to no longer buy that company's products, no longer produce planned content on that company. You know, one of my most viewed videos is on a Ubisoft Forward event. In fact, it might be the Ubisoft Forward event where they refused to comment on the sexual harassment last year. And I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? The same time it happened, they refused to comment. They refused to talk about it because it would hurt them. Because it would hurt them from a business sense, not from any other sense. So that's what I want to do. I want to hurt them from a business sense as much as possible. And while I'm just one person, I'm not going to buy their products anymore. And I know if you look online, there are multiple people, hundreds, that are saying the same thing. And I hope anyone who knows nothing about this, I'll leave articles in the description. I'll leave anything I can in the description. I hope you come to your own conclusion. And if your conclusion on this whole situation is the same as mine, and you don't feel comfortable supporting this company and you don't want to until they change, please do. Because people don't deserve that at their workplace. No one deserves that anywhere. But especially for a leading company in a major industry to publicly have that out there and not care, why would anyone want to give them their money? We need to hold Ubisoft accountable because they won't hold themselves accountable.